Happy Monday, everyone. This is Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel on YouTube. Thank you guys for tuning in with me. As always, if you like this, subscribe, share it out. Give me any feedback, positive, negative. I welcome any of it, constructive feedback, anything to help make the channel better. I'm all for it. But thank you for tuning in. Tennessee gets big news. Big news for the class of 2025. George MacIntyre commits to Tennessee, giving them their sixth commitment for this cycle. Now, of course, these are non-binding at this point, so who knows what happens later on with commitments. Do guys stay in the boat? Do guys look around? But this one is a big one. This is one that has been trending Tennessee's way for a while. It was looking good. Alabama was making a run. He was, from what I'd heard, or not necessarily read, was that MacIntyre really liked Nick Saban. Obviously, with Saban retiring, I think from what I'd read, though, it was already trending Tennessee's way. I've seen Steve Wilfong of 24/7, who's normally really accurate with his predictions, really good with his information. He had said this was even before Saban's retirement. He liked how that one was trending for Tennessee. MacIntyre makes it official today, which will put Tennessee inside of the top 10 of the 2025 rankings for recruiting. This gives them that cornerstone for this class. Of course, 2 years ago, you had Nico, who was the cornerstone. Last year, you had Jake Merklinger out of Savannah, Georgia, who was the quarterback. Now you add MacIntyre. It's going to add an interesting dynamic, because if things play out the way they do, Nico's here 2 years and gone. That's gotta hope that not that I want him to leave by any means, but for this program, the biggest thing they could use right now is having that top 5, top 10 pick. If Nico keeps going with his talent and what he does, Nico is arguably, based on my lifetime, what I've seen, I don't know how he'll pan out in terms of all-time ranks in the school, but as far as his physical tools, his arm, his legs, all those things, he has more talent than any quarterback in my generation. All right, and this goes back basically 80s, 90s, and so on. How does he rank in terms of long-term? We don't know, but the transition there, it's going to be interesting. I don't think you can count Merklinger out. And people are already stating it'll go from Nico to MacIntyre, and it very well might. It very well might. It's a good problem to have. It is a good problem to have. Or could it be a situation like with Taven Jackson, where he saw the writing on the wall after last year? He could have been Joe Milton's backup. Maybe even, who knows? It seemed like they were pretty set on Milton. But Jackson saw the writing on the wall with Nico coming in. He went to Indiana, where he was going to play. Kind of curious to see how that works out in this quarterback situation. But the ideal, Nico 2 years, and then who knows, maybe MacIntyre sits a year and takes over at that point. I think it'll be a competition then. And so getting into what MacIntyre brings to the table, I'm looking at his scouting report on 24/7 Sports. Andrew Ivins says, high upside quarterback with a franchise-worthy frame, college-level arm, and fluid pocket movements. Just watching some of his video, just seeing, I don't know how good his line was last year based on his highlights. The highlights, it shows he's doing a lot of scrambling. It almost at times looked like Nico against Iowa, some of that, but he's not a dual threat quarterback, but he can escape. He can make things happen with his legs. He made some good moves to get out of traffic, to get out of pressure in the videos that it shows. If you go to 24/7 Sports and click on MacIntyre, it has videos, it has the breakdown of it, but arm looks really good. It looks like a high caliber arm. I don't know if it's like a Nico arm or a Joe Milton arm, so to speak, but this is a college arm. This is a big time college arm right here. Ability to make things happen on the move, ability to scramble, ability to keep the ball if needed to be. And, he's not going to be a 20 carry guy, but he can make things happen. If a secondary gives him that room, he can take off and make those things happen. Says he possesses, this is according to Ivins again, possesses a cleaner stroke and can drive the football 50-plus yards. Shows touch on deep shots and will use trajectory to his advantage. should not be used as a true dual threat talent, but is elusive in the face of pressure and will spin, slip away from trouble. One of the things he says, he's got to get better with his timing and accuracy when looking to attack the short to intermediate parts of the field, and will likely greatly benefit from having a supporting cast full of Power 5 caliber wide receivers. Well, if you've seen it this week and you watched in the Polynesian Bowl, Mike Matthews was the MVP of that game. Well, Matthews will be around, hopefully, when MacIntyre, if everything goes right, you have MacIntyre. Whenever he's ready, you'll have Matthews, you'll have Braylon Staley. Seems that Tennessee hits the portal, every year for at least a wide receiver, because they've had Brew McCoy, they've had Dante Thornton, you've got Brezel from Tulane coming in this year as well. I mean, they had Velus Jones a few years back. So Tennessee's had success in the portal with wide receiver. You got to think they'll probably go that route. Again, of course, they'll continue to add through the high school ranks. One comparison I make with Tennessee's recruiting classes with Heupel, they don't necessarily always rank top 5 or anything, but I'm not saying the same thing, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of some of Dabo's classes used to when they would get like Deshaun Watson, Trevor Lawrence. They didn't necessarily have top 5 classes every year. They were top 20, top 15, but they got their ace quarterback, that franchise quarterback, and built around them. I think that's a lot of what Tennessee does, and then add through the portal. Now, of course, I'm not using that comparison with Clemson because Dabo refuses to hit the portal for some reason, which will eventually lead to his demise at Clemson. But, back on topic, you're building with MacIntyre. You've got your guys out of Georgia coming in. You got your tight end out of Texas. Who does this help with? Cam Sparks, teammate on, 7-on-7 out of Chattanooga. Got to think it helps with him. Some Tennessee's recruited hard. David Sanders was in Knoxville this past weekend. Number 1 offensive tackle out of Charlotte. You got to think they've made connections already, probably starting to build a relationship there. He's going to recruit him hard. Who else does MacIntyre help bring into the fold? Is he that big recruiter for Tennessee? A lot of times you want your big quarterback to be that guy recruiting. Does MacIntyre add that? But, just to wrap this up quickly, a big-time commitment for Tennessee today. And, this is an athletic guy. He's had reported offers from Arizona State and FIU in basketball. FIU's interesting because his uncle is the head coach there. Mike MacIntyre was once coach at Colorado. But as a junior, MacIntyre had over 3,000 yards, 25 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, ran for 3 touchdowns. So pretty good numbers for high school. And I don't think this was one of Brentwood Academy's better teams that year either. So how does he look next year or next season in 2024? What kind of talent does he have on that? Big time commitment. This thing's rolling in Knoxville right now. I'm curious to see how this impacts the recruiting class, who they're able to add. And you got to like where things are going with Tennessee. Obviously, what happens on the field in the fall is going to be a big impact, I believe, as to where they're going. But I've said it before, if 9-4 is a bad season at Tennessee right now, we'll take it. There was a point in time we would have loved to have had that. So things are looking good in Knoxville. A lot of positives going on with all the programs, especially your main men's programs. Everything's looking good there. Good pickup for Josh Heupel. A lot of momentum in this program. How do they keep it going moving forward? Like always, guys, thank you for checking everything out on here. New channel, less than a month old. And we'll see where this thing's go. It's building fast. Hit 100 subscribers already. Thank you. Cannot thank you enough for that. As always, guys, go Vols. Be on the lookout this week. Later on today, infielders preview for baseball. Continue that series. I'm going to address the portal pickups as kind of update that. As Tennessee added a couple this past weekend. And we'll see where it goes from there. Basketball content will keep coming. That's kind of driven this channel right now. So I want to keep the basketball content coming. Plenty of baseball coming. Lots of good things happening. This thing's just taking off right now. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening. Have a good day. And once again, as always, go Vols.